part of it.
Okay, Katie.
G. Pay. Act like you know, don't act like you slow. You ready? Let's get it. You don't wanna get in the mix, I'm about to stir up some trouble. Went from skipping rocks on the puddle to defining my hustle. Where niggas was when I was helping selling hats at the swap. Physically I'm free, but mentally I'm trapped in the box.
So a few years ago, we made this awesome film called Christmas Eve, and hopefully you've seen the Dailies episode about that. I really wanted to share one of my favorite parts of making that movie, which was working on the score. My friend Darren McFate, who is from DC, we have been good friends for a long time, and I've always wanted to work with him on scoring a project. Before Christmas Eve, a lot of the type of scores that we've done for films have been either based off of songs or based off of like electronic sounds and stuff like that. I wanted to make the jump into full orchestral scores for the film. And so me and Darren started down that journey, and I remember calling him at home and was like, hey, I want you to score this film. And I read him the whole film, and I started playing different type of music that I was thinking about. And what came back from him on his side was he would send me back like little thoughts on the piano. He has an awesome piano at his house, and he would send me like these awesome thoughts back in voice memo. So we voice memoed back and forth. And I still have those to this day, which is really cool. And those little voice memos turned into actual notes and finale, and that turned into the score for the film. And listening to that, even in MIDI, I just knew that it was gonna be something really special. Some of the parts I didn't know what Darren was doing, or I couldn't really see his vision, but there's just such a great trust between me and him that I knew he understood the film. And from there, then you kind of have to let go and trust the artist to do his thing. And Darren really interpreted the film in such an interesting way. Then I dropped a bomb on him. I told him that we were not making this film with enough time to score it after. We were shooting the film like December 17th, and I wanted it out on the 24th. So it was a huge rush, and it was a last minute production. And so Darren was like, well, how are we gonna score this film? And I was like, what if we scored it before we shot the film? And me and him thought that was such an interesting idea, very challenging, super opposite of how the industry does scores, of course. But we scored the entire thing of Christmas Eve before we shot it. So it was around December 2nd, where Darren came down to our studio in Fort Lauderdale, and we hired a bunch of musicians, and Peter was engineering this for us. And Peter's a really awesome engineer. He's in New York, just super talented dude. And he was engineering with Darren, and they really clicked. And now I'm literally listening to these, from what I know is voice memos to MIDI notes and finale. Now I'm listening to cellos and violins and violas and French horns put this whole awesome score together. There was nothing like sitting in the studio, filming, just listening to the score. It was magical. The first step that we did was Darren laid everything out on the piano first. He's a composer, he can also write music, he can also play music, so he started laying all the piano parts down first. Once he got all the piano parts down, then we went and started working with the orchestra, and it was a couple days of just all day, just in session, just recording different parts, different pieces. We would bring in a trumpet player to get these special parts down. We'd bring in a flute player just to get these really specific parts down. And that became the basis of the film. Our biggest fear doing it this way was what happens if the edit is longer, or once we're in editing and we need more music. And I don't know how this happened, but everything that we edited was almost perfectly in sync with the music. And one thing that was really cool about going into the production with the music, I was able to hand Tom, the DP, and everyone on crew the score to the film as we were shooting. So when we were thinking about the mood and pace and timing of each of these scenes, we had the actual score. Music we know we were using, not just like a sample track or something like that, but music we actually knew we were gonna use in our ears when we're directing, acting, lighting, and producing this film. That gave us such a unique edge in production that was just super special. I really love the score, and the score is on Spotify and Apple Music, so you can go listen to it. It's on iTunes, it's beautiful, it's everywhere music is sold. Just search for Darren McFate or Christmas Eve. But my favorite song that he wrote was this one called I Can See You. And the resolve in this song is something that me and him talked about all the time. And he made this, I don't even know if you can hear this, but it's just my favorite part. Dude is so freaking talented. It's not even, this is just like my favorite thing in the world that we've done together. And now we're making another movie together called The American. Now that we have scored a film with an orchestra, it's like, you can never go back to Ableton or some random sample library. You want the real thing, and the real thing sounds so much different, than some software instrument. All of that is attributed to the genius that is Darren McFate.